just pouring on in here. Excited. This is like, I can't imagine, we open up this panel and I'm looking at it thinking like, this is a whole screen full of brilliant people who are engaging and who are fun. Frankly, my friends, my colleagues, I'm just excited to be, I'm so honored to be here with you guys. For you guys that don't know, I'm cat coach Beckie. I am your MC for this event, and all things education at Basepaws. So yeah, Nicole, you're right. Like, so many great names here. We're so lucky, and this is all for a great cause. So I want to take a second before we go too far ahead here, just to say we have raised, I'll get the final numbers, but over $600, I believe. So this is an event for good. So it's like doing good things, it's making money. And you guys just donated all that for us. And so thank you for that. Thank you for helping us. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm proud to be a part of it. So I'm going to pop up a poll here for you guys. And while I do that, tell us the behavioral issues you want to learn the most about. You can select more than one. And then, oh wait, I have to tell you, you have to let you answer it. Boy, launch polling. There's so many rules. Can you see it? Cool. All right. So I'll give you guys a few minutes. In the meantime, what I want to do for this panel, so many of you guys had great questions that we did not get to. So please go ahead and go into the Q&A and start to put in some of the questions that you asked. Go ahead and direct it to whatever speaker that you would like. And we'll try to get to those, as many of them as we can. So just go ahead and you guys can see here, MultiCat behavior. It's really funny, Dr. Michael, you could have predicted that, couldn't you? If you had to put your money on that one, you would have.
Absolutely. It's the number one reason I'm called for help.
Yeah, it's what you said in your lecture. And then biting and aggression is second. What do you guys think about that in the panel? Would you have predicted that?
Yes.
Yeah. No one's shocked. Everyone is still.
Well, I'm not shocked by it, but I will say, according to the data that's out there, the number one reason, in fact, animals land in shelters, so I'm including dogs, is litter box issues for cats. So I'm surprised that isn't higher here, but I'm glad it's not.
I'm with you, Steve. I would have put litter box issues. My second guess would have been there. I'm with you. And I'm glad that it's not. So thanks for playing along with that one, guys. I'm going to close that. So this is really an opportunity for you guys. I have to put my glasses back on, my readers, because the giveaway meeting was not canceled. We are going to do the giveaway, I think, at the end of this. Don't you worry. I got your prizes. I got your back. So don't you worry. And I know there's been some issues with the links, guys. We're working on those as fast as we can. So now I know, Dr. Michael, you talked a little bit about bullying. And that's one of the questions we've got kind of here first and foremost. So when you guys deal with MultiCat households, and I'll start with you, Dr. Delgado, I should say, Dr. Michael, if you guys can think about your answers, but let's start with you. When you have that bully, and I know you said we have to work with both cats, like what does that really look like in actionable items?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. A lot of it well, I guess it depends on the severity of the issue. So sometimes it means separating the cats and starting over and reintroducing them under much more controlled circumstances. I really like to use clicker training to reinforce alternative behaviors for a cat who is chasing, maybe hyperactive. You have to make sure their physical needs are met too, so that they're not maybe just engaging in the chasing because they have a lot of excess energy that they don't have other outlets for. But for clicker training, what I would recommend is under controlled circumstances, so not in the presence of the cat they're chasing, is to work on things like training them to sit in a particular location for extended periods of time for treats, sitting on a mat, so going to their mat, so kind of creating a place where they can go and be calm and get rewarded for that behavior. And then also target training. So target training is teaching them to follow and touch an object like a wooden spoon handle or a actual training target, which you can, purchase. And then starting to employ these tools when the cats are safely separated with like a screen or baby gate between them. So this would be for like a more severe case where it's really difficult for the cats to be in the same room together without one of them chasing the other. And then working on the victim or less confident behaving cat would include things like also training for them and play. So you're encouraging them to show relaxed, confident body language on the other side of that safety gate, which prevents them from having those ongoing negative interactions.
Yeah. I love that you bring it up. It's so easy to kind of pick on that. The bully cat, right? Like we are bullying the bully, but we don't really think about like what is the cause of the situation. Do any of you other genius experts on our panel have anything to add to that? I think it was a beautiful answer.
I agree with everything Michael said. I love clicker training for cats and focusing on what behaviors we want and setting them up for success. So I do that. And then the other, if you were like, hey, Tabitha, you have 5 seconds to answer this, increase resources.
Yeah.
A lot of homes, like I grew up with lots of siblings, and when there was one more Diet Coke in the fridge, I would physically resort to aggression to get that. I don't recommend it. I'm a very nice person. But a lot of homes, you guys, there's one cat tree for 5 cats and it's in a separate room, or there's 2 boxes for 6 cats. So that's me being really simple, but increase those resources because that's less competition, less tension. Live your best. If you aren't best friends, that's cool. Live your best life over here and live your best life over here.
Yeah, I love it. Great 5 second.
A lot of people don't realize that who they think is the bully is actually the victim.
Yeah.
And when I was first learning about cat behavior as a student, the veterinary professor, Dr. Karen Overall, who's like major guru, I was lucky enough to be a pen. She would have the students watch the videos and she would have us as uneducated at that point explain what we thought we saw. And we were always wrong. And so the cat that is usually acting physically often is the one who's been bullied subtly in ways that if you're not really a student of cat behavior, you don't even see it.
Yeah.
You don't even see it. So you be careful what you assume about who is who in the victim versus bully scenario.
What a great point. What are you thinking, Steve?
Well, I agree with that, what everyone said. And getting back to, I think it was Michael's point, that I love the idea of starting from scratch. Sorry, I said that. But actually starting at the very beginning when you have a multi-cat issue. The newest cat in the household, presuming it's a fairly new issue, and it always is not. People have come to, I'm sure all of us, and I know myself, and then you ask, well, how long has this been going on? 12 years, But if it's a fairly new issue, to put that one cat in a separate room, not only for all the behavior reasons that have been mentioned, but also then you're adding more resources, or the client is for sure, because that cat in that one room needs his or her own scratching place. They need their own place to feed. They need their own litter box and their own toys and their own bedding, actually. So now this cat has something that is his or her own, and it's an easier sell to people because they understand that one cat needs all this stuff as opposed to adding it to the entire house. So sometimes, even though I think the entire house would be fine if they do certain things like adding resources, it's just an easier sell, and there are advantages as long as the clients spend time in that room. And I think that's an important point. The cat has done nothing wrong. The cat's not in jail and should not be treated in that way. So certainly members of the household should go into that room and watch TV and read a book and play with the cat and play with the cat and play with the cat and play with the cat.
So sorry, should they play with the cat?
Not sure.
You guys, this is why we love a panel, right? Because you kind of yes and we get such great information and look at all these angles. I have a huge retraction to make. I am in correction corner, guys. We raised $5,000.
Wow.
I did not see the other zero. $5,000. Super sorry. I do the same thing to my husband when I shop. 5,000. So you guys, that's all you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I was willing to interject that here right now and let you guys know that, because that is amazing. And so you guys know, update prize will be tomorrow. Yeah, Steve?
I do want to mention one thing that is the most important thing ever anyone can mention. So there is a book out that I'm sure everyone here would enjoy. It's called Decoding Your Cat. I just wrote the introduction, so I've got nothing other than that to do with this book, but it follows a book we did called Decoding Your Dog. We, meaning members of the American College of this group, the American College of Veterinary Behaviorists. And they are the veterinarians that have a specialty in behavior. And this book is great, as my dog is a fan of.
Cheering, like the dog's like, listen, get it, do it.
And
you guys, that is, I mean, it's such an important thing. You're absolutely right. Steve, if your dog, it will allow you, I want to throw the next question to you to start, because I know this is one of your most passionate topics right now, separation anxiety. Separation anxiety in cats looks a lot different than it does in dogs, right? And I think that even in dogs, we often don't necessarily understand the difference between like being spoiled, being mad, actual separation anxiety, and all of those types of things. So talk to us a little bit about what separation anxiety actually looks like in cats and what we can do about it if we're experiencing it.
So thank you. That's a great question. And I believe because we are home so much now, so many of us, it's great, have adopted cats. Maybe you're fostering a cat or two or three, and you're there, and everyone in the household, or at least someone from that household, is there 24/7. And now, poof, you're going to be gone. Maybe everyone in the household will be gone. That's a change. And if I ask an audience of 100 people, what do cats dislike more than anything else? Everybody says
change.
Right. So I think that's pretty well. So here's a huge change that's going on. So it's almost a predictor that the question you ask is going to happen more and more. We're going to see more cats with separation distress. It can look similar, except I've not heard a lot of cats bark when people are away. But it can look very different, because cats in general are less obvious about expressing their emotions. So something more subtle can occur. Anything that is different when you're not away. For example, you leave food out for the cat when you leave, and normally your cat scarfs down that food. That's not happening now, and you associate it with you being gone. That is a sign of separation distress. A cat that's actually waiting by there, that's our front door, when the folks leave from the household. I don't mean your parents' folks, I mean the folks in the household. And they leave, and your cat doesn't typically do that. Your cat's on a sofa, your cat's 3 rooms away, whatever. And now the cat's always by the door. That's kind of subtle. And people come home and they say, oh, the cat's at the door, and they don't otherwise think about it. A greeting that for your individual cat is over the top may tell you that that cat has at least some separation distress. I am also, and then I'll give it up to other people to answer and chime in. I'm a fan of getting the cameras because they're so inexpensive now. They go right to your phone. If you only can afford one camera, point it at the door, because near that door, even with cats, dogs more so, you're likely to see something going on. But ideally with cats more than dogs, if you can get 2 or 3 cameras, that would be helpful so you could actually see in real time what's going on. So that's a start. And I have a hunch you guys have more to add.
I mean, the camera thing is critical, because actually to diagnose separation anxiety, it's what happens in the absence of the human. So much of this we can't see. We see, like Steve said, the greeting at the door, but you don't know what happened in the previous 8 hours. So it's very important when assessing what's going on to have that data about what your pet is doing when you're not home, to really understand. Of course, if you come home and your pet has, groomed them your cat's belly is naked from over grooming, or they've started urinating or defecating on your bed, you have some clues. There's evidence of things that happen when you're gone, but we can't see the meowing. We can't see the pacing. We may not see increased, incidence of, aggressive behavior between cats. So the cameras are critical.
And we feel so much better when we see them being relaxed, right? Because we only see that half a second where they're like at the door feeling sad because we've reinforced the behavior. And you guys, I would love to hear this. Like, we have people saying it in the chat too. Our animals know we're coming home. Our animals are energy, psychic, I don't know what it is, but they know we're coming home. So then you come home and your cat's at the door looking anxious, and you assume that they've been there since you left. So it's great to turn that camera on and see that they're actually having fun. And I want to say too, I was thinking about that with the last question with aggression and fighting and things. It's where the videos come in so handy to you guys with behavior, right? Is when these interactions, whenever anything is going on with your cat you're not sure about, that you want to follow up with questions, videotaping this behavior is everything with cats, because, like you guys said, what we see is very different than what we might be interpreting. So video everything. Nowadays, right? We're all walking around with GoPros anyway. Anybody else have anything to add to that? That was a great question.
I totally agree with what everyone said. I know separation anxiety in cats hasn't been researched as much from a science nerd standpoint, but it's definitely, as a behavior consultant and a vet tech, something that I see more commonly than you would think. And like everyone said, anytime you can get video, just avoid creating narratives and avoid labels. I know it sounds so easy, but like, my cat's a bully, my cat's a dick. Don't say those things to me. I will still love you, but let's avoid labels. And that's where the camera really helps, because then we could describe behavior and what we're seeing, because you might be like, my cat really misses me. And then we all see the video from a behavior standpoint, and we're like, actually, your cat's bored as hell. Still, because again, I might need more enrichment. Like, I need a lot more enrichment than my husband. We're both awesome. So your one cat may need more enrichment than your, so it just helps us get to that, like, that key. There's always a purpose. I always joke, I always ask WTF, what's the function? You guys thought I was going to say something else. What's the function of the behavior? So I just second what everyone was saying about record, but don't put your cats in a stressful situation just to record it. Asterisk.
Dee, was that what you were going to say about the boredom?
Essentially, yes. Tabitha took the words out of my mouth, so to speak, which is not an easy thing to do. I was going to say it a little differently, which is always. I mean, if I think my cat is diabetic because my cat is drinking more, I am not going to diagnose as a non-veterinarian my cat is being diabetic. I'm going to show a veterinary professional, actually I'm going to bring in the cat, who will have blood work done, etc. In this case, show that video to a veterinary professional who can help interpret what's going on. And if the veterinarian can't do it, the veterinarian will hopefully say, hey, I'm going to show this to the technician who I know studies behavior, or I'm going to say, why don't you see a PhD behaviorist like Dr. Delgado or a veterinary behaviorist? But for one thing, you're watching your own animal, and that's always difficult to do no matter what, because it's your animal, hard to see it objectively. And the second thing is, you may not be seeing what you think you're seeing, as Tabitha suggested.
I love it. You guys are absolutely brilliant. Now, I love this next question, and I want to hear from every single buddy. Catnip. Yay, nay, yes, no. Inhale, don't inhale. I love, like, I literally had a client who her husband would not let them get catnip because he was really worried about the psychogenic effects. And he was like, we're not getting our cat's eye. And I just couldn't help but laugh about that. And so, yeah, Sarah is saying, Gibson, our one of our friends of everything Basepaws, Gibson the Cat Explorer, loves fresh catnip. What do you guys think about catnip? Dr. Liz, we haven't heard from you in a minute, so I'm throwing it to you to start.
I'm all for it. I think we've talked a lot about scent today, and I think that's one of the most overlooked part of a cat's life. yeah, in addition to, you know, the fact that what we like in scent, they really don't. We love strong perfumes. We love citrus. We love, you know, fabric softener and soap that has all those strong smells. And to them, it's like, I say, like being locked in a car with your aunt that's smoking and putting on Giorgio perfume at the same time. So it's way too much for them. But what do they want to smell? Actually, you know, we've all talked about it today. Cats really go through the world with their nose first. So in a barren environment of scent, where they can't interact, it really is lonely for them and sad. So using scent enrichment with all of those things, I am all for it. Listen, we all need to relax a little bit. I'm just saying. And I think the same thing with food, hunting for your foods, you're using their nose first. All of those things that get them engaging with their environment in the way that nature wanted them to, I'm all for it. Everybody just calm down with the worry.
All right, who is next on the catnip talk?
I'm happy to chime in, which is the response to catnip is believed to be genetic. So not all cats are going to have the kind of classic catnip response. And there are several other options. There's honeysuckle, valerian, silvervine, and research has shown that actually more cats respond to silvervine than catnip. So do not limit your choices to catnip. Offer your cats choices and let them decide if they want to interact with it. If you place some catnip on the floor and they're attracted to it, they will let you know. And it's also good to, if you've never tried catnip with your cat, just to know if they have the, as we call it, the mean drunk or the happy drunk response, because some cats may need catnip alone because they get a little worked up and may redirect to others.
I actually learned also that there are multiple strands of catnip, and so there are various strains. So if your cat does better, I don't know, there's different types. I have one that does and one that doesn't, and the one that does, man, he just body face plants in that stuff. He just wants it everywhere. I just love to watch him because he doesn't have a lot of the like high effects, but he just loves to get it on him. So and then also, Dr. Liz, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. As a veterinarian for 20 years, I have never seen a catnip toxicity. I've never seen an ill event as a result of catnip. So,
I bet human doctors could say otherwise.
right, yeah, it's just a different substance that causes a different reaction. So don't worry. If your cat doesn't react, it's like Michael said, they just don't have the gene to react to it. But if they do react and have fun, you're not going to cause a problem.
It's also a great thing to search on Facebook. There's like a picture series of cats that have been introduced to catnip. And it's just, if you're having a bad day, you just need to go look at that because it's like basically everything. Also to that effect, cat grass. I love to encourage the use of cat grass. Cats just love to rub their face all in it, chew on it, pull at it. And if you have a cat that gets into your planters, I find cat grass to be a great way to redirect. What do you guys think about cat grass?
Yeah, I know I talked a lot about olfactory enrichment with my senior cat stuff. But of course, olfactory enrichment is huge for every cat in every age. And I've heard some of that stuff too, Beckie, about some interesting ideas about catnip, and I'm not sure where they came from, but that's okay. That's why we have the internet. So I think it's really important to provide your cats with a variety of different scents, like everyone's saying, but also context, right? So for example, I have 5 cats, and I mentioned in my lecture, like my cats have different responses to silvervine, valerian root, catnip, but they each get their own at a distance. And for example, if your cat's rolling in catnip and you're like, hey, and your cat bites you, that's an appropriate response. Your cat's being a good cat. So just when it comes to like your cat being in a play mode, whether it's with a wand toy or catnip, playtime is not pet time. Because a lot of people, like you said, Beckie, like they might be like, my cat's a butthead when he does it, but you were messing with him when he was in play mode. So just a note, like, just respect your cat and let them do their thing. And if they do get happy or angry drunk, because again, resources are important, provide enough for all your cats at a distance that's safe for your specific cats, for sure.
Based on their specific reaction.
Your specific cats, yeah.
That is so funny. Okay, let's talk a little bit ironically about travel. We've got a great question about if we're traveling for several weeks, is it better to leave them in their environment and to have a pet sitter come in, or is it enough time to kind of get them acquainted to a new place? And would it be too stressful for a separation? What do you guys think about that? I'm going to throw that one to, I think, Dr. Mikel to start.
It depends on the cats and it depends on where you're going. I know like we had some work done in our house and we had to evacuate for a week and it was not ideal, but we basically took as much of our cat's stuff with us. So we took more of her stuff than our stuff so that she had, you know, everything that smelled familiar. So it's kind of like we just picked up our house and moved it into a different house and she had a great time. Like she adjusted very quickly. But for a lot of cats, that is going to be stressful. Whenever possible, you do want the cat to stay in their home territory. But you have to balance it out with like how much is that cat sitter going to be there. If your cat's used to getting a lot of attention and you have someone coming over for just 20 minutes twice a day, some cats are going to get pretty lonely. And if you're going away for 2 months, then I'd probably bring my cat with. But it really, it's like kind of have to tailor it to the individual situation to an extent.
I also want to say that all cat sitters are not created equal. And I have a cat sitter checklist that I can send you to send out in the file too. And I made this because I had a client who was adopting a kid in China, and they had a cat sitter, and they got home after I think it was 4 weeks in China, and they're like, they had 2 cats. Like, where's the other cat? They couldn't find their cat, and they asked the cat sitters like, oh yeah, I forgot there was 2. Yeah, I don't think I've seen the other one. And they went running all over to try to find it. Ultimately, they found it. It had followed the male owner up into the attic when he went to go get their suitcases, and he had shut it in the attic for a month. And it lived and it was fine, but it was touch and go. And it made me just think about, we want to check in with our caregivers. And so I have a form of, I saw it, it ate, it peed, it pooped, you know, like you just want the basics. You don't want the, you don't want to put your people through the ringer, but if you're going to be gone, even a weekend, I want to know that you laid eyes on it. A block cat can get blocked because you're not home. So I want to know that when they clean the litter box, I usually see 4 clumps. I want you to see 4 clumps. Yeah. And so you don't need to, the cat sitter doesn't need to know how many clumps, but I want them to report it to me. Yeah. Because, eating, drinking, peeing, pooping, and that you laid eyes on them is really critical information. So I, just like Michael said, I'm all for having them stay in their home. I really want dogs, cats, everybody to stay in their home. Right now, I want everyone to stay in their home. But I want to know for sure that we laid our eyes on them. And so I can share that it's a cute little thing. Check, 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 4, 3, 2.
Oh, I know you. Not only is it effective, but it's cute. That's amazing. I love it. No, that's such a great idea. That I have a very shy kitty who my pet sitters will say like, I haven't seen her, but I know her food's gone. So I'm aware she is in the house and she is eating. And then usually about day 4, she'll finally get desperate for human interaction and come out. So I love that. We'll make sure we get that resource out to you guys. Anybody else have anything to add on that?
The only other thing I would add is, because I agree, ideally they would be in a home setting, but we've all been, context is important. Sometimes, like if you were in California, you had to go, and things like that happen. So that's where if it's not one of those situations, like you're like, I'm going to go on vacation, I'm living my best life, I'm going on vacation for 2 months in a year, at that point you could prepare. So what I have my clients do, like I have cat sitters that I specifically refer to because I have a relationship with them, and I work with a lot of fearful cats. You guys are all surprised. Fearful or shy cats who changes are weird for them. So I tell the clients, like, we're going to have the pet sitter come in. The pet sitter is going to leave like a coat or something with their scent on it in the house. And then I have the client start because a lot of my clients don't have routines with their cats already. So I'm like, dude, we're going to start a scheduled playtime with a long wand toy. So even if the cat's fearful, distance is our friend if you're afraid of something. And you're going to play with your cat at 10 p.m. every night. That cat sitter is going to come over at 10 p.m. every night when you're gone. So it's predictable. So again, it's going to be a slow transition. The cat sitter is going to come in, maybe leave something. The cat sitter is going to come and just chill with you and toss the cat treats. Again, not forever. They just stop over twice before. If you could do it more, that's great. But then you're creating some consistency and predictability for that cat. I play with my cat at 10 p.m. with a long wand toy, and you show the cat sitter how you play. I have a whole handout on how to play with the cat. I know it sounds silly, but a lot of us just hit their heads with the toy, and they don't like that. The mice don't just run in their face. They would love that, but that's not what happens. So I think that that's something you could do too. You can prepare that cat sitter to help set them up for success, as well as, like Liz and Michael were saying, get feedback, have an emergency contact, have an emergency vet, contact your vet. As a vet tech, I'm like, have that there and call your vet and say, yo, dude, I'm leaving. This is my pet sitter. I approve treatments. Because again, very unlikely to happen, but if something does happen, you're going to feel so much more comfortable that that cat got the care they needed immediately.
This is the worst thing ever as a veterinarian, to have the pet sitter bring in the cat. It's an emergency situation. We have to make serious choices that are maybe life-threatening, definitely expensive, and we can't get a hold of anybody. It is terrible for everyone. No veterinarian wants to do the wrong thing. It's awful for everyone. So I love that you brought that up. And if you can, leave a document, because everything goes in writing, right? So I can also give a template for that too. So I can be reached at X number, but if I can't be reached, you're authorized to spend up to X amount of money, or do everything you can and I will be responsible for it, even if it's Y amount of money. Or I don't want to spend any money and my cat is 19, and if now is the time, it's the time. But as much clarity as you can give us so that we make sure we do the right thing for everyone involved. I'll try to give you a template for that too.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that too, because when you were talking about the checklist, I was thinking about my pet sitter. She has been my pet sitter for like 2.5 years now. She has never gotten less than 3 pages of notes from me every time. Like, and I know she's like, yep, I know how to do it. But I'm like, here's a new update. Here's a new behavior. Here's a new thing that's happening. So I always leave notes. And at the end of it, it does say it has the permission and release for consent. So I'm glad you brought that up, because again, hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. Okay, I love this next question, and I'm thinking, I think I'm gonna go to Dr. Liz on this to start. We've got questions about nursing behaviors, and so I guess I want to see what you think about this. Why do cats nurse? What is going on with nursing behaviors? Fully grown adult cats, they get on your lap. I've got one that he'll nurse whether you're present or not. I'll come into the bedroom and I'll find him like just to town on his favorite blanket. So let's talk from a medical standpoint about that. And then maybe we can weigh in on some behavioral aspects of it as well, because there's a lot of controversy as to whether it's medical or behavioral, right?
Well, I think that it actually can be both. I had very recently someone contact me and said, my cat's never done this before, but he's nursing he's like all of a sudden nursing all the time. And I had her this person didn't live near me. So I had them go to the emergency vet and the cat was blocked. So it's a self-soothing behavior. So if like I'm a picker, like I have a little thing on my thumb, I'm picking it right now. It's a little gross, but that's what I do. So we all have a thing that we do that makes us calm down. And that nursing behavior, that kneading, that's the best that we know of it. So if your cat does it all the time, it's a baseline, it's just part of their personality. If you're seeing it more, it could be because they're stressed and they're trying to relax. It also, I think, can be a sign of pain or illness. So With cats, change is the big thing to look for. If you have a baseline and then something's different, all of a sudden it's doing that all the time, that's when we want to look into it. Is it something else? Oh, you're sounds like your microphone.
They were being, oh, can we? We'll be here all day. So anybody have some other thoughts on that, on the nursing behavior? Yeah, what have you got there, Dr. Michael?
Yeah, I actually study nursing behavior in orphaned kittens. I just published some publication on kittens nursing on their litter mates, which is a big issue with orphans. But it's really important to recognize that, first of all, the sucking behavior that kittens engage in when they're nursing is not just for food. It is, there's a lot of what's called non-nutritive sucking that occurs in all mammals. So that is time where they're nursing and there's no milk being received. So again, it has to do with the soothing aspect. It's a vital function. So there's a strong instinct to perform this behavior. And even though most kittens, as they wean, lose that strong instinct to perform it, some animals are going to continue to have it to some extent. And I think it's going to crop up at times where there's discomfort, whether it's physical or emotional. So it's important to recognize that sometimes behaviors seem out of context, but these are behaviors that are very, like, they're part of the normal behavioral repertoire. There's strong instinct to perform these behaviors, and certainly as kittens, that it does provide them with a lot of comfort, even when they're not getting milk. So I think that sometimes confuses people, because it's like, why are you doing this? You're not getting anything out of it, but they are getting something out of it.
Oh, go ahead, Steve.
So I'm glad you chimed in, because I was going to say, and Dr. Delgado, I know you researched this. So I have one more question though for you, Dr. Delgado. Some people are annoyed by it. Or the drooling that goes with it sometimes makes the bed really wet, or wherever they happen to be doing it at. So what do the people who are asking this question, what can they do about it if they don't like the behavior?
Yeah, I think the first, going back to Tabitha's WTF. So is there a stressor? Is there discomfort? Is there something that is drawing the cat to perform this behavior, aside from maybe other issues like pica or wool sucking behavior, which can be part of a compulsive disorder. So I would say, if this is again a change, that needs to be explored by a vet. If this is, certainly a lot of cats are stimulated by certain textures, so those kind of Veluxy, soft, ultra plush blankets can get some cats going. I'm of the mindset, if the cat's healthy and emotionally and physically, then it doesn't hurt to let them do it. It makes them happy. So I'm more of the just maybe try to direct it towards one of those plush blankies instead of maybe your clothing or something. But yeah, I'm not usually I'm not one to recommend stopping a cat from doing a behavior that they derive a lot of pleasure from.
It's too cute to stop. What else were you going to add, Steve?
Dr. Delgado will be speaking for the Win Feline Foundation about this very topic, as well as other kitten behaviors. I don't know that we probably do have a date, Dr. Delgado?
You haven't given me a date except December.
Okay, so check out the Win Feline Foundation website at feline.org. Win Feline Foundation, if you guys don't know, everyone on the panel I'm sure knows, supports funding for cat health studies. So everything that Dr. Bales or any other veterinarian, or that Tabitha, you as well, work with, doesn't matter what it is, a vaccine, a prevention for fill in the blank, looking at blood work, how do we determine fill in the blank, all of that was at one point in time funded by the Win Feline Foundation. So we are holding webinars every month, because everybody does, and we're honored to have Dr. Delgado speak for us.
So some people are asking Dr. Delgado where they can find your study and get more information about that. And then also I'm going to go ahead and post in this chat again the Win Feline Foundation. Or Steve, can you put a link in the chat to the Win Feline Foundation website? People are interested.
Great. I've been on their board for 15 years or something, and they can't get rid of me. I'm just honored to be on their board. It's great.
Perfect. And then the Win Feline, and then also Dr. Delgado, where can they find your study?
Probably the best. I mean, scientific studies are usually behind a paywall, which means your average layperson can't always access them. But if you write to the author of the study, they're happy to send you a copy of their research. So people can go to my website, mikeldelgado.com, and I have a contact form on there.
I will tell you, that's such a good point. If you come across a study that you have to get paid, email the author, and they also are really willing to talk to you about, content. And what a good point. People are so gracious usually. So I want to expand a little on this question because it was a good one. And I guess, Dr. Delgado, is this part of your study? The difference between actual or like suckling and the nursing behavior of biscuit. So everybody calls it something different, biscuit making, kneading bread. What do you guys call it? In our house, it's making biscuits. We're Southern though.
I don't think the behaviors are always happen in concert. I don't know. And I definitely would like to allow some others to chime in, but yeah, I think you can have cats who knead without the sucking and vice versa.
And so, Tabitha, is this still a self-soothing behavior?
Yeah, I think, like Michael said, I think when people commonly see it, their complaint is it hurts when they knee on my legs. So what I'm thinking is, okay, that's an innate. So by instinctual, we mean innate behavior, like cats need to scratch, like I need to talk. So I'm going to just place a blanket over my lap so the cat doesn't, I can't clicker train the cat to be like, stop being a cat. And if someone is trying to do that, that's a whole nother ethical problem, because I know people are weird and do things like that. And then I know there was a lot of questions about pica, which is a completely different thing. So I'm sure all of us on the panel, from a behavior and a veterinary standpoint, we hear my cat has pica, and that's that label again, right? Like, just because your cat ate a plastic bag does not mean your cat has pica. It feels good on their tongue, and as management, you shouldn't have that plastic bag out. So that's where we have to kind of get more into, let's talk to my vet, let's work with a behavior consultant, and we have to get more information, because I do see a lot of people throw that word around. And although I love Facebook, getting your advice from a Facebook group about pica, probably not the best option. So pica is a completely separate thing. Like Dr. Michael said, it's more of a compulsive behavior disorder. And in some cases, I see cats and dogs excessively lick due to GI issues. So again, guys, that's why behavior is fun. It's not easy. We like puzzles, and we need a lot of information to answer your questions, which is really fun.
All really good points, though.
I was going to say, I think it's worth pointing out that so many of us don't know what's normal for a cat. We know what, well, I don't really know what's normal for a person. I've never been very normal, but what's normal for a person or a dog is really different than what's normal for a cat. And a lot of things that are normal for a cat, a lot of people don't like. Yeah. So you should really know what you're getting into when you get a cat. You should really know that, like we've talked about today, not all cats can handle being in a multi-cat household. That's normal. Cats are going to scratch. That's normal. Cats need to hunt and express predatory behaviors. That's normal. So we have to look at what is normal for a cat, and then what can we do to sort of scoot it in a direction that we can live with. But you can't uncat a cat. So if you don't want any of those things, you should maybe get like one of those, I forget what they're called. There's a mechanical cat thing.
Joy for all.
Yeah. Like just cat's not for you. You might like the way they look, but they are going to go to the bathroom.
And not in your toilet, because we're going to avoid toilet training cats. Because
yeah. I'm not going to ask you to go to the bathroom on a tightrope tonight. And I'm not going to ask you I'm going to forbid you to ask your cat to toilet train.
I'm writing that down for my next truth or dare, though.
I mean, we can talk later, particularly if there's cocktails. But, I just think we need to be really realistic about what we're doing here. One of the most interesting things, I learn new things about cats every single day. And one of the most interesting things that I learned from a veterinary behaviorist, a board certified veterinary behaviorist, Dr. Elise Christensen, said to me, you know, it really is only reasonable to expect a cat to accept being pet for 3 seconds.
Oh yeah, because of the.
Where did you get the 3 seconds from?
It may have been her, you know what, I shouldn't out her because we were talking privately.
She's
I don't know that
wonderful.
from a study, but she said 1 or 2 or 3 pets is it. And then you put your hand, put your hand near their face. And if they come to you, pet again. And I was like, wow, I really never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
We particularly in cats, we don't have studies for a lot of things. We have to sort of rely on very educated people and then ultimately get the study. So I didn't mean to out Dr. Christensen, but that is what's normal. For a cat to be pet and pet and pet is overstimulating. People like that. People like the act of doing it. But this is where the intersection between cats and people goes off the rails a lot.
One of the most effective advice I give to people who are having aggression issues with their cats is to stop petting them.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's
2
my
weeks,
clients stop
no
touching
petting.
Yeah.
cats for
And
2
you know what?
weeks.
I think broadly speaking, let the cat make the call.
Yep.
So you bring home a cat from the shelter, hooray, cat dives under the bed. And what do most people do? In human nature, I want to love you, and they want to pull out the cat from under the bed. Cats are control freaks, is the way I put it. Let the cat be in control. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then people have actually said, then I'm not dominant anymore. No, that's crazy. Of course, let the cat feel comfortable. And if the cat feels comfortable and in control, follow the cat's lead, because I agree with Dr. Bales. Some cats, and I think Dr. Delgado, you said the same. Some cats just don't want to be petted very much. Other cats, oh my gosh, please don't stop. And they tell you don't stop. They literally take your hand and put your hand right over there. So so it depends on the individual cat. Every cat has their likes and dislikes. Every person does, of course. Every dog does. We tend to let other people, we go with that. We should let ourselves listen to what cats want and what their individual needs are.
And I think if people are that, if it's that important for a human being to be dominant, they need a therapist, not a pet. I'm just saying. Because pets are living creatures with their own internal life, not here just to be to serve a human. I know that sounds like crazy to people, but I own the dog, I own the cat, kinda, but really you're coexisting. And if you feel that strongly about needing to do something, like, maybe we gotta take a little time out and look inside. This isn't about the cat, not about the dog. Maybe I need a little.
Should I feel bad about all the times I have my cat and I'm like, I love you. Let me love you. I'm going to love you. I love him so much. I know he loves the squishy. I'm sure he's enjoying that.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Call me later. We'll have a drink.
I'm going to get his little squishy face on camera and you're going to be like, no, yeah, for sure.
About it. Yeah.
You guys are so right. And it's such a beautiful sentiment to think about. Question your motives, right? Why are we, I love you back, Alicia. Why are we, because I have people ask me, how do I make my cat more affectionate? And I'm like, question your motive, right? Like, why do you want that? If you were not a hugger and I tried to make you a hugger, how would you feel about that? Like, again, as a very, very solid E who likes to hug, I don't understand any of that, but I know a lot of I's who are not huggers and I try to respect their space like my cats. The other thing that I hear you guys just saying so much in such beautiful sentiment is look at life through your cat's eyes. Look at your resources through your cat's eyes. Don't anthropomorphize. Don't, Tabitha, you said it beautiful. We don't need to make labels. We don't need to put them in a box. It's not about that. And so you guys have done amazing, amazing work throughout your life, but tons of education here today. And we want to thank you for it so much. We have had, again, $5,000 raised, tons of education. And what you guys know, at the end of the day, when we have this kind of education, we're making better lives for cats. And it's what we are all here for, is just better, happier, healthier lives for our cats. And you guys are helping us do that. So thank you to Basepaws for today, for bringing all these brilliant minds together. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I had such a fun time. I miss you guys all in person. We would normally be having cocktails and chips and such. I see you guys calling me out on the giveaway time. I was told it's tomorrow. There was one per day. So one this morning and one today. So or tomorrow, today. You got me, one each day. This is why I hate emceeing things, because I feel really guilty. I'm like looking for a gift card to give away.
First thing, right? We did it first thing. We gave away the new Doc and Phoebe's cat carrier that looks just like this. Hold on.
So cute.
Well, that's so
it's a kitty hamburger bun.
In your packet tomorrow, you're gonna see a bunch of stuff about all these things. But there's another like super amazing giveaway tomorrow. So I think like early bird gets the worm. I don't know what. Yeah, when are you going to do the giveaway tomorrow?
Whenever they tell me to. I am clicker trained by the best of the best.
You snooze, you lose. Mm-hmm.
I am lead trained, right? Target trained. They tell me what to do, and I do it. I want to say, you guys, that we have one more awesome panel coming up after this. If you didn't see it in the chat. We've got some really great influencers talking about social media life, what it's like to live with a cat influencer. I always ask my husband, did you imagine like this is what married life would look like with all these animals? So you guys don't miss that. Thank you all for being here. And we are going to see you guys all tomorrow. And to these brilliant panelists, thank you so much for being here and making our very first inaugural Cat Behavioral Summit Day 1 the bomb.
Thank you. Thanks for everyone for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, Basepaws.
Bye, guys.